On the 20th of May 2024, one of the most important matches of the modern era of arm wrestling will take place at East vs West 12 in Istanbul, Turkey. You know this match will feature Canadian Devon Larratt and Georgian Saginashvili, and it will determine the de facto #1 arm wrestler in our sport today. But what can be said that hasn't already been crammed down your throat ad nauseum in the lead up to this match? In this video, we'll not only take a look at the possible outcome of the match, but also its potential impact on the arm wrestling world at large. I've already done an extensive deep dive on Devon's history and covered this last year in the sport. In the lead up to his match versus Levan, however, he seemingly ramped up his training, but put an emphasis on being healthy for the match. His mindset seems to be largely positive, and his usual antics and so-called mind games are ramping up the closer we get to the match.
Levan, you see this? Yeah, you see that? Yeah, I got it all. I got all the video.
Whether or not they will have any noticeable effect on Levan this time remains to be seen. What we can say is that the Georgian could be a little less mentally secure because of a serious, relatively recent wrist injury. Will this open up the door more for Devon to play into those insecurities and in that way increase his chances of winning? We can't know for sure. Up until this point, at least as a projection to the outside world, Levan seems mostly unbothered. Add on to that the fact that Devon himself got injured when the two last met, and you might be forgiven to think Devon himself could be facing some mental insecurities, despite his confident demeanor. It's also worth noting that Devon's own staking website says the following about the match. For this shutout stake, the underdog, Devon Larratt, only needs to win one round before Levan Saginashvili can secure a victory for his stakeholders to get the win. Levan Saginashvili must secure the victory by winning the first 4 rounds for his stakeholders to get the win. Wins or losses in rounds after Levan Saginashvili wins the first 4 rounds are not relevant to the stake. Despite this rather foreboding message, it's safe to say that Devon has earned another crack at the top spot, and in many ways looks to be in an unprecedented shape. Levan's almost impenetrable resume of arm wrestling matches throughout the past years, and indeed to a certain degree throughout his entire arm wrestling career, speaks for itself. An almost unbelievable physical evolution has made him into one of the most formidable looking arm wrestlers currently active, and perhaps even in history. Before this unbelievable winning streak started though, Levan already showed tremendous potential, and clearly didn't shy away from improving the technical aspects of his game, and eventually evolving into a well-rounded arm wrestler. The hype and expectations for the Devon vs Levan match, and to a lesser but still significant degree, the hype for the entire East vs West 12 event, has been unprecedented. Online coverage in the weeks and months leading up to the match has been happening on a massive scale. By and large, I do feel this is a good thing for the sport as a whole. More coverage means more eyes on the sport itself, and the potential for never-before-seen numbers for the event's pay-per-view. This, in turn, might attract more potential sponsors, and can even facilitate a bigger event and more frequent events in the future. However, as is usually the case, there also seems to be a flip side to this coin. It seems that as of late, a large percentage of content creators, specifically on YouTube, have resorted to making easy-to-digest rapid-fire videos on the upcoming Devon vs Levan match. In some cases, these videos are of dubious quality and regurgitate the same point to the nth degree, sometimes even going as far as to resort to egregious clickbaiting. This in turn could very well lead to an oversaturation of content, which could turn some people off to the entire online arm wrestling ecosystem, and, let's hope not, even dissuade them from exploring the sport further. Now, the irony of me making this statement in yet another one of those videos on the upcoming match is not lost on me, and I do concede the potential appeal is something that played on my mind while making this video. However, I promise this will be the first and last video on the topic, and I'm attempting to also add something of value to the conversation. Back to the match at hand, some people online have expressed doubts about the validity of Levan holding on to the #1 rank, regardless of the outcome of this match. They go on to quote the athlete's low frequency of matches over the last several years. And indeed, when looking back at Levan's impressive winning streak, the amount of matches is relatively low, especially compared to some other super heavyweights. However, and I don't know if this needs to be said, but the quality of opponents as well as the sheer dominance and one-sidedness of most of these wins all but negates this argument in my opinion. I do feel like the sport could benefit from a minimum number of matches in a year that one needs to accept in order to hold on to a title, and this should not be a topic that we should shy away from as a community. Both athletes have taken to social media to build some momentum in the promotion for their big match, and by extension the entire event, although Devon has been more vocal compared to Levan, as was the case before. I also asked you, the very distinguished viewers of the Arm Historian, about who they think will win this match, and the vote was somewhat divided, with 60% of you thinking Devon will win, while 40% of you give the edge to the Georgian Hulk. When asked to elaborate on your choice, a few distinct categories started to become apparent to me. A lot of comments concluded Levan is simply too strong, and the match will look similar to how it looked the first time around. This is certainly a possibility, and based solidly on Levan's proven track record and incredible power, although one might lose track of the fact that Devon, in all likelihood, has also improved since their last outing, and we haven't seen how Levan's recent wrist injury has played into his current level. Other comments I have seen fall solidly in the Devon camp, but concede that the match might be close, and the victory of Devon will probably be an extremely hard-earned one. This opinion is not a completely unsubstantiated one either, as Devon has just had one of the most successful years in arm wrestling, possibly ever, and made several upsets happen in convincing fashion. However, a third, distinct group of comments seems to be based on doubt. This subsection of Arm Historian viewers expresses mixed feelings by conceding they would like Devon to win, but are not sure about his ability to pull it off. I believe this last group of comments leans closest to my own personal opinion on the potential outcome of this match. Devon winning this match would, in my opinion, result in the best outcome for the sport at large too. The number one spot has been unchanged for over 5 years now, and might not for a long time to come. Moreover, the optics to potential new viewers of a significantly lighter and older athlete beating someone like Levan could potentially increase the intrigue and appeal of the sport. The prospect of not only relying on strength, but technique also playing a significant role in the sport you practice or follow would certainly be a welcome one to many people. Do I actually wholly believe Devon could beat Levan at this point in time though? Probably not, although I'd be one happy arm if he would surprise me. To me though, the important thing to remember is that no matter the outcome of this match, the sheer hype and popularity of the match itself, and the fact that it's even happening at all, is a major boon to our beloved sport. Thank you for watching this video of the Arm Historian. I've been working on a rather large video on a major figure in the arm wrestling world, so expect that soon. As always, a major shout out to all the Armians and Fingerfolk. There are now over 20 of you, and I couldn't be more grateful. Arm Historian, out.